the power of peace. And are you ready? Are you willing to be the power? With me, I am the power of peace. I am the power of peace in the world. I am the power of peace. The power of peace. What are you going to be? The power of peace.
Are we there now? Can you hear me now? Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome to Unity on Greenville, a positive path to spiritual living. I am Megan Doran, and I am your celebration assistant today. We are delighted that all of you are here today, both in the sanctuary and online. Hi, guys. How are ya? Good to see ya. So I have a few announcements. Let's see what we have. Our very own Sandra De La Cruz will hold a beginner's charcoal drawing class. This will be after the service on May 26th, and lunch and all of the art materials will be provided. Please do register so we can have enough of both. You can sign up on the sheet in the foyer, or you can go online with our e-news newsletter. It's got Sandra's email there, and we can sign up that way. We will have a brief meditation class on Tuesday, May 21st from 6:30 to 7. This will be Reverend Veronica Vyas. It will be via Zoom, so please join us for that. I'm really looking forward to this one. I look forward to all of them, but this one is Chair Tai Chi with Nancy Duplant. It will be on both Sunday, May 19th, and again on June 9th. It's in the community room, and it will start at 10 a.m. Reverend Veronica Vyas will also do Cafe Society, where we'll meet at a coffee shop on Saturday, May 18th at 10 a.m. It's at the Well-Grounded Coffee Community Shop that's on Garland Road, roughly near Buckner. And it starts at 10 a.m. for coffee and camaraderie and community and conversation, I'm sure. Then on this Thursday, May 9th, from 6:30 to 7:30, it's Tune-Up Thursday via Zoom with Reverend Veronica. And it will be for connection, conversation, and contemplation. We have an outdoor pantry. It's right out this back door. And those in the community who are in need of food, they actually use it a lot. So thank you for sharing your abundance and prosperity with us. You can bring single-serving pop-top cans or pouches of chicken or tuna or single-serving fruit. And all you need to do is just buy a little extra at the grocery store, bring it in, leave it here, and we will stock the pantry. And we sure do appreciate your help with that. We have speakers. Today we have Reverend John Vyvyan. More about him in a minute. Next week, we have Reverend Veronica Vyas, and after that, we have Reverend Barbara White. So, from the applause, you guys know Reverend John Vyvyan. For those who don't, he was ordained at United Presbyterian Church. He worked with the criminal justice system, and he also worked with homeless people through interfaith programs. He is currently and continually running a Course in Miracles groups via Zoom, and we're delighted he is here today. Thank you for your tithes and offerings. Unity believes that we attract and we receive all of the good that is meant for us. So if Unity on Greenville is your spiritual community, or if you are spiritually nurtured here, thank you for sharing your abundance and your prosperity with us to support this community. You can do that in several different ways. You can do it by texting to give through Tithely. You can do it through Zelle. You can mail to the address on the screen, that's here at the church. You can donate on our website, that's dallasunity.org. Click on the donate button. And if you're here in the room, there's a bowl in the back. You can leave your gifts there. So thank you so much for sharing your abundance with us so that we can continue this community with grace and ease. Please say the offering blessing with me.
Divine love has me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
With gratitude, we commit to using our gifts for good.
Ten. 1, 2.
Hello. Hello? Ha-ha. Today's word of the day is joy. It happens to be one of my personal favorites for Sunday, May 5th, 2024. I feel joyous as I celebrate life. Each new day is a treasure filled with life's gems found in even the most ordinary moments. Joy fills my heart when I pause to notice the wonder that surrounds me. I let my gaze linger as I watch the setting sun or close my eyes as I savor the sweetness of fresh fruit. Beneath the night sky, I breathe deeply and partake of the fresh, clean air. The beauty of the world pales in comparison to the beauty within me. I am so deeply and wondrously blessed to know my oneness with God and with all that is. There is no greater joy. I wake and praise each new day and feel newly alive. I go out into the world to share the joy of being a child of God in the abundant universe. I spread light and love to everyone I meet, trusting they will know the joy of God as I do. For you, O Lord, have made me glad by your work. At the works of your hands I sing for joy. Psalm 92:4. Please say the affirmation that's on the screen with me.
I feel joyous as I celebrate life.
Thank you. Today's prayer chaplain is Vyvyan. She'll be up in a moment to do our prayer. And after the service, she will be at the back of the
Same one, new batteries.
Awaken my purpose, make the way clear. In the stillness, I will listen, open up to new ideas. Awaken my purpose, oh Spirit of truth. Ever changing, ever growing, I create a world anew. Awaken my purpose for all mankind. Live fearlessly, love endlessly, children of the one divine. Awaken my purpose, O Spirit of truth. Ever changing, ever growing, I create a world anew. Ever changing, ever growing, I create a world anew.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Today is so meaningful to me. I was here 15 years ago when John announced that he was going to teach A Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles to me is one of the most important spiritual seeds dropped for this millennium. And John has just been an extraordinary teacher. And I am so grateful that he answered the call. Thank you, thank you, thank you, John. Please join me in prayer. Let us take 3 healing breaths together and breathe in forgiveness and breathe out healing. Let us drop down below all the unnecessary thoughts of the brain, and let us drop down to that place within our soul where we are one, that place of perfect peace, that place where the strength of God abides, that place where nothing is impossible. I believe that we are all here together because we remembered that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. I believe that we come together every week to learn, to heal, and to master our soul's curriculum. Precious Lord, please take our hand and lead us beyond all the illusions we have made up, all the guilt from the past, all the fear of the future. Lead us beyond everything that is keeping us from remembering, experiencing, and enjoying what we really are, your precious Son. I ask that today that each of us accepts what we really are, complete and whole, God's perfect, beloved, precious Son. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen. I ask that you join with me and that you say silently to your soul, I love, love, love you. With all the meaning you can muster, say to your soul, I love, love, love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So continuing in our prayerful mindset, I invite you just to relax. And you'll hear several very short statements, and then a pause for you to be silent, or to perhaps fill in your own words. So we affirm this truth that, and now we are one with the source of life. of the universe, of all that is. And the Holy Spirit invites us to go down to a silence into which the world has not intruded. Down still further, we come to an ancient peace that we have not lost, deep within ourselves. Going down deeper, we come to a sense of wholeness, of holiness. The thought of sin has never touched. All of these we can remember today. Amen.
I hear a voice in the morning as it calls me. It's like a force that's hid deep inside. Sometimes I take the time to listen to the message. Sometimes I turn toward a light. It's like a beacon, can't ignore it for too long. The light is waiting just to shine. My soul gets weary when I walk this road alone. I choose the presence that's aligned. Yeah. And it doesn't take a neon sign, a disco ball, or a glaring light. There's a compass inside me. It's my guide with the surety. Through the madness sometimes I walk alone, but the morning always comes. Although I'm really never on my own, I hear the sound of distant drums. My soul awakens when I let it be. The gift is having eyes to see. Yeah, it doesn't take a neon sign, a disco ball, or a glaring light. Oh, I move mountains inside of me. It's a guide with a surety. It doesn't take, it never took a neon sign, a disco ball, or a glaring light. There's a compass inside of me. It's my guide with the surety. It doesn't take but the tiniest seed. It's a guide with a surety. It doesn't take a neon sign, a disco ball, or a glaring light. I move mountains inside of me. There's a compass with a surety. There's a compass with a surety. It's the size of a mustard seed inside me. I move mountains with a surety.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. Well, with microphones being handed around, I felt right at home. Some things don't change. I'm glad you got a new system, though, an expensive system. So one of the first people I met this morning was LD, and of course he came bounding in full of strength and vigor and high energy, and we greeted each other, and then he said something like, well, you look good too. And he said, what's your secret? And I said, well, I eat butter. And then he said, my doctor told me to stop. So I advised him to get a different doctor. That's really all I have to say. So, what I'd like to touch on today is something that maybe that we ignore, but actually is really helpful to connect with it, and it's grievances. And you might say, I didn't drive all the way down here to look at that kind of stuff. But because it is kind of dark. But the purpose of looking at that is so they might understand how it works and how we might let go of it if we decide that we want to let go of it. So I just want to offer that to you. I have not come here to drop truth on you. I've come here to try to stretch together with you. So, some things may be a little new, and some things may be things that you're very familiar with and have heard before. So just as a start, there's a couple of statements I want to make. One is that love created me like itself. And secondly, love holds no grievances. And so I'd like to just repeat those and invite you to say that to yourself, because the rest will just sort of reflect around that. Love created me like itself. And love holds no grievances. So a couple of wise comments from others. One is very ancient, but it's this. It's be kind today. For everyone you meet is fighting a tough battle, trying to survive in a place that's not home. And generally we can thank Mr. Plato for that. Be kind today. For everyone you meet is fighting a tough battle, trying to survive in a place that's not home. And if you've been on the planet for a while, looks like all of you have, you know that, you know what that is. And secondly, a statement from the Course in Miracles that said you are at home in God. You're dreaming of exile. But you're perfectly capable of awakening to reality. Is it your decision to do that? So, one of the things that blocks our experience of actually being kind or actually waking up are our grievances. Yours, mine, everyone's. And some are kind of obvious to note, but most of them, I think, just slip under the radar as kind of normal. And so we can wind up calling things normal that are actually pretty crazy. She mentioned, Megan mentioned before that I'd worked with homeless families for a while. I remember talking to a woman one time who'd been through a lot of domestic violence, her original home and with her partner or partners. And she said, I just thought that was normal. I just thought men slapped women around, knocked them around. And she realized, well, that's not normal. So just a couple things about grievances, and then we'll kind of just be with a lesson for a short while. You know, ultimately this is something that's not just about sitting together here for 20 minutes or 25 minutes. It's just some ideas that hopefully you'll find useful, actually useful, you know, as you go through your life. You know, and a grievance, in its big sense, is ultimately something that you perceive as outside of yourself, as separate from yourself, that you want to be different. It can be as something as innocuous or mundane as your husband or your wife or your partner kind of has a different concept about what should happen to towels after a shower. Yeah. All the way up, you know, those crooks in Washington are screwing up the whole world. And everything in between. And the lot in between. And often that is accompanied by feelings of irritation, anger, resentment, aggressiveness, even with the towel thing, let alone what we tend to call the big things. So a grievance is a little bit like a poisonous drink, but it's masqueraded as a milkshake. And we all like milkshakes. Just, it feels good going down. Everybody likes a milkshake. I mean, I don't care whether you're eating dairy these days. One way or the other, you'll like a milkshake, even if you have to get coconut milk or something like that. We love milkshakes because they feel good. Our grievance, we have to be honest, that our grievances also, at least initially, feel good. Until we realize a bit there's poison in this. And with the milkshake, we start to get sick to our stomach. So we're really asked to be honest about our grievances, you know? It helps us feel right. It helps us feel right about about the way we're looking at the world. Like a milkshake, it's really cool until it turns sour, and it always turns sour. And just one other thing about a grievance. It's kind of about being stuck in the past. And our egos certainly want to stick us in the past because that's where all the guilt seems to reside. And so, it's kind of like you pick up a little stone and you put it in your pocket. You don't even know it's there. And the next day you pick up another stone. And, the first few you don't notice, and then finally your pockets get full. If they get full enough, maybe your pants will fall off. But, or you just tighten up the belt so you can stuff more in. And finally you say, I need to get a sack. My pockets are full. I need to get a sack and put stones in there and put it over your shoulders. And it's a visual, isn't it? But it shows how that works if we never put them down. And they just hang in there. And it really does do damage to our psyche, to our soul, to our spirit. And most of it just goes under the radar. You kind of don't think about it. It's those first 2 or 3 rocks in your pocket, and then it just keeps going on. So I just want to do a couple more things, and that's all. One is to look at a lesson from A Course in Miracles. We're just going to look at a paragraph. That's the only part I could remember. But it says, love holds no grievances. And so it says something like this in paragraph 4. It says, to hold a grievance is to really redefine God in your own image, your own little grievance-based image, where in truth, God has created you as part of itself and sees you as one with it. To hold a grievance is to experience guilt. But those who forgive will find peace. To hold a grievance is really to forget who we are. Whereas those who forgive will remember. Because it says, those of you who are created as love like itself cannot hold a grievance and know yourself. To hold a grievance is to forget who you are. To hold a grievance is to see your basic reality as a body, which always is vulnerable. And through our grievances, we try to protect that. So, of course, says, well, wouldn't you actually try to let your grievances go if you actually thought that was true? That in the process, we've tried to redefine God, whereas the real definition is that we're actually part of God. And God's not angry. And God's not a little grievance-keeping deity up in the sky, marking things off. Wouldn't you rather be at peace rather than feel guilt? And a lot of our guilt goes unrecognized at first because we try to get rid of it with someone else or a group. We're loaded down with feelings of guilt about the past. And so we try to put it out and get rid of it. Ultimately, the Course says there is no guilt. You're playing in a dream, and the dream is simply a dream. And we're here to wake up. And so we can let go of the seriousness of all that stuff that we seem to be dragging with us, each of us, and collect it from all that stuff that we just wasn't good, wasn't right, and it hangs with us. Well, we can't let it go. And we can also, in that, remember who we are. Ultimately, who we are is where we started today. It says, love created me like itself. Love created you like itself. Love created the person you're going to vote for in December like itself, and also the person or persons you're not going to vote for. And this is kind of where the stretch starts to come, but where the healing can take place. So just for a moment, I'm going to invite you to do a little exercise. It's better if you're by yourself. You know, words are words, but there are some words that are more helpful than others. And one of them is a little exercise. We use a name of a person and say, I would see you as my friend, that I may remember you're part of me and come to know myself. Pretty simple. But because they're words of truth, they can actually be helpful. So we're not going to drag this out. What we really suggest is just to pause for a moment and just think about grievances that you have. And we're not going to belabor this. We're not going to ask you to dig. You either be aware of something right now, maybe something big you're still holding about your mother or your father or your Uncle Joe. And if that doesn't come, maybe just the little things about the towel. And so I'm going to give you a moment just to be quiet. And then we'll kind of just go through that 3 times. And what I'll invite you to do, after you've been quiet for a little bit, is just to say the name, Bob, Sally. I would see you as my friend, that I may remember you're part of me and come to know myself. And if nothing comes to you right now as a grievance, just be thankful for Sunday morning at whatever time it is. And so what you could do is simply mention 3 people that you feel good about right now. I guarantee you, as we start to open to this, the grievances will appear. And that doesn't have to happen right now, but I'm guessing at least some will come, and we'll just do that little exercise. So let's do this. We'll just be quiet for a minute or so. Invite you to close your eyes. And then I will say that little 3-liner and invite you to repeat it using the person's name. And we'll just do that 3 times. So let's be quiet for a minute or so. I invite you to close your eyes. And just let come what comes up. And so now I invite you, silently after I've said this, to say that using an actual person's name who's part of your life. I would see you as my friend, that I might remember you're part of me and come to know myself. And again, with another name, I would see you as my friend, that I may remember you're part of me and come to know myself. And finally, one more time, I would see you as my friend, that I may remember you're part of me and come to know myself. And if you found this helpful, then it might be something you would want to do at another time in another place, where you can enter into your energies and your experience. I just want to give you a couple of visuals that might help understand. It captures a little bit about who we are, and then how really grievances just violate that into our own separate little individual tiny self. You know, in the New Testament, that's that great chapter 13 in 1 Corinthians that we read at weddings and those kind of special occasions. And then there's a little sentence in there that probably gets passed over quite a bit. It says, love does not keep score. You could look it up later. It's actually in there. And that occurs in 1 Corinthians right after this chapter where the people of Corinth were really having a hard time getting along. And so Paul uses this analogy of a body. And even though the body's not really who we are, we can use it as a teaching device. And if you can imagine, you know, up here you see a little thumb wiggling. And so it is okay to say, I see a thumb wiggling. It's much more accurate to say, John is wiggling his thumb. It's the whole me that's doing that. In our craziness, we think the little thumb is over there, which is not true. And so the Apostle Paul goes through that with several things. You know, you see a left hand waving. That's partially true, but it's much more accurate to say John is waving his left hand. And the whole point of that, the whole point that Paul is trying to make, is that we are like a body. And we're all doing it. When that left hand is waving, John is waving his left hand. When some things go on in Washington that you don't like, it'd be much more healthy to say, that's part of what I'm part of. Rather than those crooked politicians. That's a false separation. We're in this dance together. And it's really designed. The theme today was joy. It's meant to, it's designed to be a joyous dance. So just one more visual, and then that's it for today. Some of you are familiar with the poet Rumi, who lived in the 13th century, and he captured things with a kind of language that's not scientific, but it expresses some truth. And I just want to share 3 short stanzas with you, because they point to something that is true, and they point to how we really are one. So he wrote this poem called I Am You. What a strange name for a poem, I Am You. And one of the lines, one of the stanzas says, I am the dust particles in the sunlight, and I am the round sun. I am the wind on top of the grove, and I am the surf crashing against the cliff. I am the rose, and I'm the nightingale lost in the fragrance of the rose. And those can be helpful to help us capture a sense of who we really are. So I'm going to repeat those 3. And just, if you want to, you might silently repeat it after me. If not, you've just heard it a second time, and then I'm going to be quiet. So, from Mr. Rumi. I am the dust particles shining in the sunlight. I am the round sun itself. I am the wind on top of the grove, and the surf crashing against the cliff. I am the rose, and the nightingale lost in its fragrance. Thank you very much.
trying to find a way to make happiness come to be mine. Oh, but I'm wishing it all will come true. That miracle will suddenly appear from the blue. Now it's a war zone, now it's a test. Survival of the fittest, the best. What about kindness? What about charity? What about brotherhood of humanity? Can it be just like before? In the beginning, the Garden of Eden. This place is paradise no more. Do you believe in the Garden of Eden? Garden of Eden. So it's in losing I'll learn to win. All of my troubles teach me not to give in. I'll just keep going along till I find a way to make happiness, peace at best, come to be mine. Can it be just like before? In the beginning, the Garden of Eden. Are we in paradise, oh Lord? Do you believe in? Did you feel the feeling in the Garden of Eden? Garden of Eden. Show me the way to, show me the way to, God, show me the way to the Garden of Eden.
Thank you, Rachel. You wrote that, didn't you? I don't know that everybody knows this. She writes all of the songs she sings. That is amazing to me. Thank you. And then we're lucky enough that she comes here and she shares them with us. How cool is that? Thank you, Rachel. And thank you, Reverend John. What a beautiful message. We're glad you're here. Did I miss one? Aha. You go. So thank you for saying the new minister affirmation with me. We embrace with love, joy, and harmony a creative and dedicated spiritual leader who will bring positivity and connection with our community at Unity on Greenville. Thank you. And thank you for saying our vision with me. We see a world where every being lives in awareness of their sacred oneness and divine light. If you would like to connect with us, please do so on our website, dallasunity.org. You can click on the Connect button and request prayer, and also sign up for our newsletter. It's an electronic newsletter, and it's delivered to your email every single Wednesday. Also, you can connect and ask us any kind of questions about the church or anything about us. So please do. The e-news tells everything there is to know about everything. Join us, please, for the peace song.
Yes, there is peace on earth. I know it begins in me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. When God, our Creator, united all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, there is peace on earth, for this is the moment now. With every step I take, I make this my joy and smile. I take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. There is peace on earth. I know it begins in me.
And thank you for joining me in the prayer for protection. The love of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great week.
Happily, I move along the trail